Yeah, and as you mentioned previously, you said if the economic pressure plus military pressure mount, they might be willing to sit down to talk. And I actually read some reports, and they all mention there exist two groups. One is called principalist, the more conservative hardliners. The others are called pragmatists, and especially the previously killed leader Larijani was categorized as a pragmatist, and which is why his decapitation was criticized. And also I think Muhammad Ghalibaf is also kind of categorized as the pragmatist who can lead the negotiation. So who are these people? Can you differentiate? Is there any distinction? Stark distinction between these groups, or are they just they're they are all on the same page?
I would say they're all on the same page, or at least for a U.S. point of view. If you are not willing to negotiate, if you're not willing to give concessions and have a constructive, continuous, talks and then there's no difference between you, Larijani or Khamenei. You both are not willing to talk. Again, this is a very U.S. point of view, but historically speaking, Ali Larijani has been or had been more pragmatic, more hey, maybe we can talk to them and get something, and it's okay if we go talk to them. It doesn't have to be like a no-go, just like Ali Khamenei was, the former Supreme leader. Yeah. But again, it has changed. Things have changed. Now you are in the middle of a war where obviously people get more radicalized. People get more fighty. They don't wanna negotiate in the middle of a war. And once you're in there, then Ali Larijani, Ali Khamenei, and they're probably about the same if they're not willing to talk. But again, there is another aspect to this that maybe the secretary of the current foreign minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, and then the Speaker of the House, Ghalibaf, for example, they do want to talk with the U.S. and they maybe are hoping to reach some sort of a deal, right? Yeah. And I think the reason that they're still alive is because the U.S. views them as such. However, we see IRGC is stopping them from going to Pakistan and speak. So at this point, and honestly, even as an analyst, I do not know who in IRGC has a say. I don't know. I don't know if I'm sure there are some people in the government who know, but that's probably way above my clearance level and knowledge. But again, it's very right now very not clear as who is exactly ruling the country at this time.
Okay, so as many have media outlet has reported that China and Russia might be indirectly support Iran, but so far we have not seen any evidence suggest that. So do you think Iran is now completely isolated at the global stage? No one is helping them, or do you think there's some sort of support from Russia, especially President Zelensky of Ukraine recently mentioned that he suggests that Russia has been helping Iran with a military its military capability. So do you have any insights on that?
Again, that's they have not been, China and Russia, they have not been helping very extensively. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to give you a very good defense system that could bring down the American jet, or oh, I'm gonna providing you the best missiles that you can, hit your targets. No, I don't think there have been like such help, and I don't think Iran was expecting it anyways. However, there has been some intelligence sharing, or some sort of a help for Iranians to narrow down their targets of Americans, because some of their targets that they've been hitting has been very precise. That means, not having satellites make you think, okay, how did they know for such dynamic,
Yeah.
especially the dynamic targets, like let's say the planes, it's not like a building that you know from before, oh, I'm going to hit this building and that's what's in the building. These have been planes, different multiple like tankers. So how did you know that the tankers are exactly here at this airport? Yeah, obviously you know where the airport is, but where exactly in that airport? So that seems like either Russia or China have sold imagery or some sort of intelligence to the Iranians that helped them exactly, precisely target what they did. As for more support, I think Iranians knew already that China and Russia are not going to help substantially, because that puts them in a really awkward position with the Gulf Arab countries and the United States. So
Yeah,
Iran has been
definitely.
isolated, and the isolation part.
Yeah, it
Iran
has been isolated.
They're, I think, used to it at this point and are willing, and able to operate isolated.
Yeah, and both China and Russia have been prioritizing their relationship with Gulf countries, and of course with Israel, especially Russia. They get most of their technology, military technology from Israel. So does China, because the West has put an embargo on military tech to China. So Israel might be the only source of these high-end technology. And also they're saying, I don't know, I forgot where I hear that, also from Iran experts who said maybe a regime change or liberalization of Iran might be beneficial to China, because China always want to expand its market share in Iran. But the Islamist regime has been imposing obstacles for foreign capitals, and not mention foreign control over Iranian assets. So yeah, I think that's the case. And another question, maybe that's more related to Iranian domestic politics again, is the current public opinions on Iranian public opinions on the war, how it's been going. And I do realize I listened to a New York Times podcast. They interviewed Iranians who live abroad and inside Iran. Some of them do support military campaign against the regime. Others not so much. And those who supported all participated in previous protests, and they've been experiencing massacres and crackdown from the regimes, especially those who participate in Green Revolution. So what are their takes on the military campaign? Because President Trump has mentioned he would strike Iranian civilian infrastructures, and which was criticized by Iranian dissidents living in America, including Pahlavi himself, and he urged people do not go to the street. It's not time yet. When the time comes, you would go there. But for now, just stay at home. So I want to know what are the public opinions of Iranians on the war. Given you still have friends and your families are still there, so maybe you can share some of your takes. Okay. So yeah, let's get back to that question on public opinions on Iranians. Apparently, you don't have a clear number, but you probably heard some people sharing their thoughts.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
This is again one of those questions that I think requires a genuine survey work, and ask the people of Iran, like all the cities, all the smaller cities, the towns, different age, women, men. Hey, what do you think? What like, are you happy overall with the results or not? And unfortunately, I've been in the U.S. for a long time now, and I can't really speak for them. And then obviously I do read, New York Times, Iranian outlets that people call and like ask for more U.S. strikes, and some are opposed to it. But again, having a really, I guess, unbiased number is very difficult. So, but I can definitely share my opinions. Obviously, Iranian people are fed up with the regime. That is, majority of them are. And I think one number that we have and we can probably refer to, and it's somewhat unbiased, is the election turnout in Iran. About 10 million people. So out of, let's say, 85 million population of Iran, and I mean, obviously we need to subtract the people who cannot vote, so under 18 years old. About 10 million people voted in the previous election for a conservative candidate. That 10 million people, I think, is the base for the Iranian regime. So you at least have 10 to 20% of Iranian people standing behind the regime. At least, right? Again, 10 to 20% is a big number, is a big difference, but that's the best I can do given how much data is absent here. What is a fact, I think it could be said with a great level of confidence, is that majority of Iranians do not want the regime or are fed up with it. Maybe not what they want. I don't know. That again requires another survey. Maybe they just want the current regime to reform and to stay in power and to do better. Maybe they want an entire revolution. Maybe they want the prince back. I have no idea what they would want, and I think it's going to be more of a disagreement and more of a discussion between different parts, different coalitions, and different parties, and what exactly. I don't know what the Kurds want. I don't know what the Turks want. I don't know what the Persians want. I don't know how many people are for the prince. That's really challenging, and I think we're not going to know until we actually get to a coalition after the regime collapses. And as for the strikes, I would say initially people definitely were way excited. And when Ali Khamenei died the first day, they were, I was
people
in DC,
dancing, celebrating.
People were dancing, even in DC. I think about at least between 30 to 40,000 people went there and started dancing and chanting and celebrating. But we all know, we have seen wars, right? As war continues to happen, as you get struck and then the internet is down and the roads are getting hit, there is obviously other consequences of the war on the market, on like the prices, inflation, and everything that is already not so great. Now it's getting even worse and worse. Obviously that is going to affect people, right, in Iran. And then they realize, okay, 2 weeks passed, 3 weeks passed, a month passed. No, this is week 6. This is it's continuing. So obviously that excitement is going to go down, especially if there is not much of a tangible result in the status quo. And again, that one is a really tough question. I honestly don't know. I ask that question every day from myself. Are the people sort of happy, or how are they doing? I know like the schools have been closed. A lot of the places have been operating like half the day. So the banks, different like really like offices that people have to go to get their driver's license, to go get like, their basic things going on.
Basic needs.
And I mean, think about it. Put yourself in their shoes. Exactly. You can't even go like buy a house or rent a house or get something or get a passport. And it continues to be the hurdle and the issue every day. Eventually you get fed up with that too. So, well, hopefully, what I'm hoping right now is that I honestly don't see a negotiation or a deal coming out anytime soon, given things being they are, like the Iranian regime controlling the Strait of Hormuz, and the uranium being really buried deeply inside Iran, in the middle of it. They have those two bargaining chips, and I think they're holding on to them very well right now. And then the U.S., I mean, we need to change the scenario a little bit. The combat field or the battlefield has to change. I don't know what, but something needs to tip to our favor, to the U.S. favor, that makes Iranian feel okay. We now have to. Right now, they're not there. So I don't know what our next move would be, but it has to be something that, again, favors us to a point that Iranians come to the table and cooperate with us.
Yeah. Maybe there should be more clear plan and more cooperation, coordination with the allies in the region. That might change. I'm not sure. I cannot say that for sure. And also, as you mentioned before, the 10-20% who supported the conservatives. So who are these people still stand behind the regimes? Where are they based? Are they just, to my knowledge, are they rural people from the rural areas, more less developed regions?
They're probably all over the place. They're probably all over the country.
All over.
But definitely more so in rural areas, probably less educated areas. Then you have, the people who work for the government, who are benefiting directly from the government, who have some sort of a tie that gives them an economic edge over the rest of the people. And then you have obviously the forces, the military forces, which could be over 1 million, depending on what exactly you're counting. And they obviously would support the regime. And then you have the older people who are happy, with. Well, I don't know about happy, but they maybe like the status quo. Definitely the younger people who can't afford to buy a house, like simple needs, to buy a decent car, to be able to get married and have a really just like a middle class type of life.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not the ones who are going to support the regime.
Yeah.
And,
Yes. Yeah.
And again, those numbers, the 10-20%, is a really wide range. I don't think real numbers exist, at least in public forums and open source. Maybe somewhere there are some classified information that would pinpoint the numbers to be more exact, but I don't have them.
Yeah. Apparently, the latest protest has been different than the previous one, especially after the kill of Amini. Most participants of protest were young college kids, I guess, from Tehran. And this time, there are many working class males join the force, which is different. It's like widespread all over the country, not just based in, not just confined in big cities, which showcase that Iran's economic status is really at stake, and the regime has been significantly weakened even before the war. So, yeah, things. Well, there could be some changes. Maybe not now, not during wartime, because nobody would be willing to stand out at this moment. But maybe after the war, things could change. So yeah, so we'll see.
Exactly.
And
the economy, the numbers are not for the Islamic regime. It's bad. The production and the money that comes into the country, to put it in layman's words, is not enough for the demands that the country has. So that is going to be a challenge. With the U.S. being in this or not, that is going to, they're going to have to figure out something to be able to pay the people, to be able to control the inflation. This past round of protest happened from the Tehran's market, all right, and then it started from there, and then it just ignited and it spread to the rest of the country, because again, the numbers don't make any sense. People cannot buy simplest things. Sometimes, it was before houses and the car and a nice maybe motorcycle, but now it's like their food. It's that bad. So if they want to really truly stay in power for a longer period of time, the Islamic regime, they have to figure that part out, even in the absence of the Israel and the West's pressure, or the U.S. pressure. That is going to be something that, and again, I think the pragmatic part of the IRGC, if they exist, which I think they do, are probably thinking about this. Okay, well, even if the war is done and over, and then America can guarantee us that they're not going to come back and hit us again, we still have these issues. We still have to talk to them. We still have to ease some of the sanctions. We still have to work with the West to some degree to be able to bring in money and have more money so that the people are not so angry at us. So every 6 months we don't have to kill 30, 40,000 people. I'm sure those people exist and those people think. However, where those people are and why they're not talking to us, no idea. Again, it's really it's a big secrecy around the constitution of IRGC, who is actually leading. I have heard the name of Vahidi, Commander Vahidi. That seems to be the person, but again, there are so many other people that we probably don't even know. So again, I don't know. Maybe again, some other intelligence agencies do, but to me, it's all a big question mark.
Yeah. But at the current stage, after their sort of deal with the United States, Iran would still be in crisis, and at that, if they decided to reform and liberalize its economy amid that crisis, might open the gate for social uprising. As many closed regime has experienced, like Soviet Union and many others. Actually, liberalization would have led to unexpected consequences. So, given the prior mass mobilization and uprising, do you think it's still possible for them to think that option, to adopt the so-called China model, the reform and opening China model? I don't know if there's going to be a Deng Xiaoping-like figure within the IRGC.
I'm not so sure. I don't know. Again, I think for an economic apparatus, not just a military apparatus, that is again not so religiously motivated. Again, they used to be, but now, I mean, they're really businessmen. They really like to do business with China, with other countries. They have again ports and ships and borders and networks and different financial institutions and ways they do their things, right? Obviously, they want to keep doing that. Obviously, they want to keep making money. They don't want to go away. So part of IRGC is at least willing to open up, and it has been, I think, for a long time maybe, to open up and then ease the sanctions, still stay in power, still do business. But again, there is probably another segment of IRGC that is not so willing to do that. And there's this constant tensions between them. This is, again, what I feel and think from an outsider. Again, without knowing the constitution of the IRGC, it's really hard to speculate who's in power and what they want to do and which trajectory it is which path they want to take. That would really require some more intelligence into the inside that I don't have any knowledge of. But I think it could happen. I don't see it being so impossible. There could be that it's still, are corrupt. They're probably going to remain corrupt. However, they're going to be open enough to be able to, work with the rest of the world, work with their neighbors, work with the US, work with China, and stay in power and make money, but not suffocate people so much. I think that's possible. Maybe not happen tomorrow, maybe not happen in the next 6 months, but next year, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, I see it happening. It could.
Yeah, it could. So, yeah. So next question, it's sort of related. What American government think of Reza Pahlavi? He has mentioned many times he wanted to return to Iran, and President Trump and many other high-level decision makers have not made any comments on that. And he now actually has become sort of representative, the face of Iranian oppositions. but given him has not been in Iran for so many years. So what's your take of Prince Pahlavi?
I realize as you mentioned his name, you're laughing. The U.S. And again, it's U.S. I'm not sure exactly if the U.S. is thinking the same thing about him. Maybe there are some people that like him. Maybe there are some that don't think of anything. Don't think anything of him. I am not so sure, but I can tell you from a very pragmatic way of looking at things. When you think about like an opposition forces, okay, you would definitely ask this question from yourself: how can he help you make your case? How can he give you an edge? How can he empower you somewhere? The prince has been in exile since pretty much the beginning of the revolution. He does not have any army back in Iran. He does not have anyone who would listen to him, and any like. And when I say anyone who can listen to him, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about maybe an armed force, maybe someone in the Artash or the regular IRGC that is loyal to him, or maybe some part of the economy, maybe something that is influential in Iran that would listen to him and hurt the regime. He lacks that. And well, so it's useless to us, to the US at least. Because if you can't give us anything, why would we want to give you something? I mean, what have you done for us? We need something more, something that can help us win this war. And he's not that. And obviously, when you know that fact, then I don't know why you would regard him or give him power, right? Especially that it could also backfire, because again, we don't know exactly how many people like him in Iran and how he can influence the Iranians, right? Maybe he would divide them, and now we added another problem to the rest of the problems we have. So I just don't see any use for him at this time. Maybe in the future, maybe when there is a coalition, maybe when the IRGC is gone and that vacuum of power exists, and there's like maybe 30-40% of the Iranian people who want him, maybe then we can use him and say, okay, we're gonna allow you to go, we're gonna give you some money, maybe we can like support you, go there, you have like the support of 40% of the Iranians now, we're gonna like help you get to power, and then listen to us, maybe like cooperate with us, have you sell your oil, or like let us influence your economy, or some insult, you know what I mean? So at this time, I don't see any use for him, at least again from a very U.S. perspective. What Iranian thinks and feel about him, again, we need numbers, we need data that we lack. There is definitely a big chunk of population of Iran that like him. Maybe they have just this nostalgia of the past, that his dad did so well, and then maybe if we bring him back, all the problems will go away. Maybe that's how they think. That I'm not so sure. And again, that would need a really extensive survey of the Iranians and how popular he is amongst them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that did answer my question. And well, to wrap up, I have a final question for you. I know you are a military expert, and you have shared a lot of insights on military technology and modern warfare. So I want to ask a final question regarding drones and unmanned vehicles. Do you think drones would displace next generation fighter jets? Do you think it's still necessary to develop and adopt next gen stealth fighter jets and or main battle tank MBTs and APCs? Do you think they will be gradually phased out by unmanned vehicles and unmanned drones? We've seen how capable, how efficient these unmanned vehicles are in Ukraine, and also in the war with Iran. I mean, how cheap they are compared to Patriot's defense system, and comparing to these F-35 and F-15. So, what do you think about the future of of modern warfare?
They are definitely changing the battlefield. They are cheaper. There's less risk assumed with them. If you hit them, there is no man going down, so you don't have to do the entire rescue mission. They're definitely effective. However, when it comes to how big of an impact you want, if you care about maneuverability, if you care about hitting somewhere deep in the ground, you're going to need your strategic bombers. If you want to penetrate cement, if you want to penetrate the rocks, you're going to need something like a B-2, B-52, some sort of a strategic bomber. If you really need your stealth capability, some of the drones, I understand, could be stealth, but they don't have the maneuverability. Even the F-35s, they're stealth fighters. F-18s, they're stealth fighters. It's harder to be detected for them, right? But they can still be detected, and they're very maneuverable. They can run away. Drones, they're not maneuverable, right? At least at this stage, they're not. At this stage, they're not. And then their payload they can carry is not as big, right? Versus the jets can carry F-16s, for example, can carry way more. They can operate for longer. If you have a fuel tanker with them, they can go for hours. But drones will have to come back. The drones definitely in ISR, in reconnaissance, have provided us an edge. And when you use them in mass, like Iran did, they definitely create a big challenge for defense systems. They can really overwhelm the defense system, and then the missiles can come and the missiles will hit and will be way more effective. So they help. But replacing jets and strategic bombers, we have a long time to go. I mean, we're going to need the drones to be maneuverable. We need them to operate for way longer. We need them to be, again, not as detectable and all of that stuff that's going to go to it. But I think the U.S. has learned, which I think should have learned earlier, because we had the war with Russia and Ukraine going on for years now. For a little bit over 4 years, that they're very effective, that we have to come up with some cheaper anti-drone capabilities instead of spending Patriots, 2 of them, 2 of the missiles.
Yeah, 2 of them.
2 interceptors, so over $2 million worth of missiles for a Shahed that probably cost Iranians less than $10,000, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, I don't think the drones will replace the jets anytime soon. But they're definitely useful. Much cheaper options to overwhelm defense systems and be destructive. We have seen how destructive they can be.
Okay, that's fantastic. And thank you for delivering such exceptional remarks and insights. And as the situation unravel, we will definitely looking forward for further cooperation with you to. We are looking forward to having Fatih joining with us again in the coming episodes. And also, thank you for watching. And for those who listen to our podcast on Apple Podcast, thank you for listening. Have a nice weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure. Bye.
Okay.